Good morning, Godlings. Today, I want to talk to you briefly about how I, after years of chronic high basal anxiety rates and levels, I should say, and being on SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, I managed to get completely off of SSRIs once and for all, and to kick anxiety completely out of my life. Now, so I had high anxiety. Mine started when I was in 7th grade, the first time I developed anxiety. And there's a difference between anxiety and, healthy perseveration, I would say, on something you need to get done that the deadline's coming up on and it has to be done. And, you start to get anxiety but it's really not anxiety. Anxiety, I draw a distinction, is it's not giving you any actionable items. It's like, I call them cockroach thoughts. They run through your mind saying, something must be done, something must be done. And you have this feeling that you've forgotten something really important that's about to matter very soon. And when you ask that inner something must be done voice, really what? What is it? If it gives you an action item that's reasonable, attend to it and then it quiets down. But if it's not giving you any action item and the little cockroach thought, when you shine the light of your attention on it, instead just runs into the walls of your mind space and scratches around going, something must be done. Okay, and it just keeps coming. That's just anxiety. Now, I used to have a lot of anxiety attacks every day, which is why they put me on Lexapro. Before, I had been on Paxil. If you must take an antidepressant like an SSRI, I recommend Paxil because it's cleared by the kidneys and it does a lot less damage to the fauna of your gut. And your gut is where you make all of your serotonin, or most of it. A large part of your serotonin is made by the bacteria in your gut, and Lexapro is cleared through the gut from the body. It's expelled through the gut, and while it's there, it kills off specifically the bacterium Taurissobacter sanguinis, which makes serotonin for you. So when you start taking Lexapro, getting off of it will take longer because you're not going to have the proper gut fauna to pick up making the serotonin for you when you stop taking the serotonin reuptake inhibitor. So by the way, you can get this restored in your gut by taking raw, high-quality, clean cow's milk or raw goat's milk. I know both times that I have had to come off of SSRIs, it was raw, high-quality A2 grass-fed cow's milk that put my gut right and made the symptoms lift entirely. Okay, we're having some weird neighborhood noise. My apologies. Anyway, so if you must take an SSRI, I recommend Paxil. That aside, now, so here we are. I've been on Lexapro at the point of my withdrawal for 5 years, and so there's been a lot of gut damage, and I've nearly ended up dead because of serotonin syndrome a number of times. Took a long time to diagnose it because I was taking such low levels of Percocet and Lexapro that the doctors figured couldn't possibly be serotonin syndrome. That said, it wasn't always happening when I took my normal dosage. It only, I finally noticed, happened on the nights when I took my normal Lexapro and my normal Percocet dosage. Both were very low, but I added, because I had nausea, some Zofran. Is it Zofran? Omeprazole. Ondansetron. This is an anti-nausea drug. It turns out ondansetron and potentiates the Lexapro so that it interacts with the Percocet to, in some very sensitive people, cause serotonin syndrome. And I'm an NDEer, and NDEers are known for having really sensitive biochemistry, and that was the same case with me, a very sensitive biochemistry. So I quit them. I cut the Percocet in half and I quit the Lexapro, and it was misery for 9 months, because for 9 months my brain kept urging me, just as it says roll over in bed to you. Your brain says roll over the other way in bed. The brain says feed the body. My brain kept saying, make it stop, please kill the body, kill the body, kill the body. And I mean, this wasn't suicidal ideation, it was impulse. Almost every second of every day, I was being prompted to end it in that moment. So in order to and I was having these rolling anxiety attacks. You know, that little cockroach thought runs through. You think, uh-oh, then the heartbeat goes to bam, 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 bam. Then you're scared of the heartbeat. You're paying attention to how it's acting weird. And the gut roils and everything goes off. It feels like you might be having a heart attack, and you focus your attention on it. And that chemical event cascade goes to conclusion in an anxiety attack. So the thing is, anxiety gets all of its power to control you, from your attention to it. The more you put your attention on anything, the bigger it gets in your experience. So if you're putting a lot of attention on the physical symptoms, first the cockroach thought runs through mind space, and you go, oh no, and that oh no causes the heart to go bam, 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 and then you go, oh no, at the heart, and that causes everything else to happen, and pretty soon you're having an anxiety attack. You feel like you can't breathe, etc. I've been through it over and over and over again. I used to have 5 or 6 anxiety attacks a day. That's why they put me on the Lexapro. And when I came off the Lexapro after 5 years, I had to go right back through all of that again. So the way out of an anxiety issue is through. Straight through. Don't take a chemical detour. Handle it now. Learn to handle it now without chemical chain mail. Okay? You don't need the chemical chain mail. Sooner or later, you're going to have to quit the chemical chain mail. Hopefully, it's at a time of your choosing when you feel strong and up to dealing with it. But it could be because the supply chain is interrupted, or pharmacies go, a pharmaceutical company stops, creating the drug, whatever. You don't want to be tied to that drug for the rest of your life and need it, because then your well-being is constantly at the whim of whatever goes on in the world. You've got to find that drug. I don't know about you. I don't want to live that way. I want to be in my power. So I quit the drug. And I observed that the very first thing was, I suddenly realized after about a month, I suddenly realized, in withdrawals I realized I didn't have to participate in the anxiety attack. That is, consciousness, did not have to add any of my energy to the anxiety attack to give it any further momentum. So what I started doing was little projects, and if I started to have, or let's just go there. I would do little projects, buy little cabinet sets and things to put together, racks and stuff like that. And whenever I'd start to get an anxiety attack, I would go right to work on one of those projects. If I didn't have a project, or it wasn't convenient when the anxiety started, little cockroach thought ran through the mind, what I would do, instead of thinking, uh-oh, was say, I know what you're about. I even named mine. I named it Diane. I said, hush up, Diane. Everything's fine. I'm here to take care of things. I, consciousness, am here to take care of things. So what I would do if I didn't have a project to work on is I would do something that challenged me. Now, I've never liked math. I'm okay at it. But it's always been a challenge for me, particularly certain functions in math seem to make my brain run slowly, like I'm running through glue in a dream trying to get away from monsters. The brain just grinds slowly along. So what I did was I picked something that challenged me just enough, but I could still do it. And I would force my attention to focus completely on whatever, the math problem, the project I was putting together, etc. This would cause the anxiety because I had taken my attention, which feeds anxiety, away from it. This caused the anxiety very quickly just run out of juice. That was it. The anxiety attack, the chemical chain of events that happens in the body during an anxiety attack stopped because I wasn't feeding it any attention. This is a surefire way. Use these skills to simply divert your attention from, first ask the thought, something needs to be done. What? You get that, oh, feelings. Oh, did I forget? Or, that little feeling. Say, is there something there? And if there's something there, handle it. But if there's nothing there and it's not actionable at all, it's just an anxiety attack. It's just the body having, a generalized, probably cortisol triggered high arousal. So, looking for danger. Put your attention on something else. You'll find this is very effective. Now, for me, what came out of this after I think I had been in withdrawals about 4 months when I began using a technique that I've coined imagifesting. And every time, rather than do a project or do math, I found that when I laid down in bed at night was when the mind wants to run amok. And you are not your mind. The mind attacks your peace. You are the consciousness that is sovereign over the mind, but you've forgotten that. You've forgotten that you built your mind. You yourself built your mind, allowing ideas and concepts into it, okay, and integrating it into your behavior as well. You built all that. You just didn't observe yourself at the time you were admitting all these ideas into your belief system, your mind, and so you've forgotten you built it, which means you've also forgotten that you can fix it. You can change it as you will and as is reasonable and necessary. Anything you want, actually. You are a godling. The mind is your tool. So what I noticed that I could do at night was I could go using binaural beats, use sound suppression technology in my ears, listen to binaural beats. Typically I use theta so that I can get into a lucid dream state. And you can go right into sleep lucidly. You can go into dreams. You can put your attention so focused on an environment that you're rendering for yourself, in the case of imagifesting it around you, like you're in it, not like you're looking in through a window, but like it's all around you. You imagifest a scenario that makes you feel good. The brain doesn't know the difference between something you imagifest vividly, putting all your attention on it, and something that's happening in the so-called real world. The brain doesn't know the difference. So when you jumpstart a happy feeling by focusing your attention on creating, say, a triumph scenario that symbolizes something you plan to do once you've overcome all of the things you think are problems that you might call challenges, but are really opportunities to become stronger, more lucid as a consciousness. So you've overcome all of these opportunities. You've grown into being the version of yourself that can and is, in fact, living the life that you are imagifesting in your triumph scenario. You imagifest this triumph scenario over and over again, clearly, not in the same night, but start over each time you have to. Pull your attention back into imagifesting that triumph scenario. And this exercises your ability to wield your will and focus your attention. And that's why nobody is at any peace these days and has very little authority over their lives and their subjective experience. It's because our attention is constantly scattered by the world that appears to be out there, impinging on us, particularly with advertising and stuff like that. We are bombarded. Please never get any chips in your head that are not absolutely medically necessary. They will start advertising to you while you're sleeping at night, I guarantee you. Do not let them do that to you, okay? So, getting away from that, imagifest for yourself a triumph scenario. Mine at the time was, because I was trying to get to France, mine was I was in France. The sun was going down. It was the golden hour with that particular cast of light, high, what am I looking for? Contrast, high contrast, big shadows, okay, long shadows because the sun is low. I'm in France in the rolling hills of the Pyrenees Atlantique. I'm driving my new car. At the time, I was manifesting a Maserati because it was a big triumph, right? I'm driving my new car towards the Atlantic Ocean, so I'm going west, and the sun is painting the snow-capped mountains of the Pyrenees, the peaks of the Pyrenees. They're painted salmon from the setting sun. There's these rolling hills and beautiful pastures with big round hay bales casting long shadows down the sides of the hills. And over, I can smell the sea breeze coming in through the sunroof. And over my surround sound stereo system is playing American Woman. Okay. This is my triumph scenario at the time. I have a different one that I use now, okay, because of new circumstances. But construct for yourself a triumph scenario that makes you feel happy, puts you in the vibration of your wishes granted, your goals accomplished. You have to become the version of yourself that can accomplish those goals. And we know that the observer observing anything causes the, how do they say it? It causes the probability wave to collapse, okay? So the point of the quantum of the triumph scenario is to imagine yourself, to see and observe yourself as the version of yourself that can overcome all these challenges and turn them into opportunities. When you do this observation of that version of you, the probability wave collapses, and eventually that version of you is what you materialize, what you imagifest and become in what people consider the world out there. Okay? So please use these techniques to to deprive anxiety of its fuel, which is your attention. Change your field, your electromagnetic field that speaks to the larger field of which we were all a part, okay? Change that field by manifesting your triumph scenario. The brain, not knowing the difference between reality and what you're manifesting, changes your emotions. The emotions changing changes your chemistry. Your chemistry changing changes your field. Your field is like a key that opens doors to event cascades, timelines, probable timelines. And when you change your field to be a match for the event cascade that you want to open the door to with your field, then you can imagine into reality, you can bring into reality, manifesting the version of yourself that has all of your desires and needs met and has overcome problems and challenges and alchemically changed them to opportunities to become stronger. This is lucidity in the dream of the world. You become an active participant in co-creating outcomes by consciously, lucidly changing your field, by changing what you say to yourself, changing what you do with your attention, and changing how you wield your will to focus your attention. These are all skills of a surrendered but creatively active, enlightened individual. Please use these. They do not work until you practice them. I had to practice them because otherwise I would have killed myself. I had to do it because chemically I was deranged for all of that time. 9 months it took for my system to get back to normal. And I have not, that was the end of 2021. And I have not had an anxiety attack since then. And I'm not taking anything for that at all. So please learn from what I went through so that it becomes not just a blessing for me because it heightened my lucidity and now I have much more control over my subjective state all of the time. I'm hugely empowered. You can do this too, no matter how trying your situation. In fact, the worse your situation is, the more of an opportunity it is for you to learn and use these skills regularly to set yourself, consciousness itself, conscious of itself, set that self free. Set it free of identification with your body, identification with your story of being a victim or a bad guy or whatever your story has been, a failure, a ne'er-do-well. Set yourself free of that and set yourself free of your self-talk. You are no longer identified with the mind that is attacking your peace. You are instead its architect. When you notice your self-talk is making you unhappy every time you are suffering, use it as a token in the dream of the world, like a lucid dreamer creates tokens in their dreams to make them aware they're dreaming so that they become lucid in the dream. For instance, I use flying. If I'm flying or I'm afraid, I instantly become lucid. I want you in my dreams. So in the dream of the world, use any suffering, fear, anxiety, any uncomfortable thing to make you lucid so that you wield your will and focus your attention in the most constructive way possible. Each time you do this, you consciousness become more lucid and less easily rocked by whatever happens in the dream of the world. And then you find you have the ability, the world is not happening to you, it's not happening for you, it's happening through you. You have the ability to actually prepare yourself for outcomes ahead of time. You're about to have to say you're going to interact with somebody from the bureaucracy. Instead of thinking, oh, this is going to suck, this is always a pain. Think, this is going to go perfectly. This person is not a utility. This person I'm about to interact with is not a utility for serving my life and helping my happiness. They too are going through the same malarkey we're all going through. So when I talk with this person from the government, whatever, I'm going to speak to them and to their humanity through my humanity. I'm going to treat them like a human being, not like they're a utility. And it's going to go beautifully. And it does. It does. It's all in adjusting your attitude consciously, lucidly, ahead of time. Use these skills, please. Because the more you use them, the stronger you get at them, and the more you see how reliable and functional they are, and they will set you free. This is the first thing you must do. Stop chasing money. Stop chasing things you think you need. This lucidity, operating out of lucidity, those things come to you much more easily. This is what Yeshua Christ was talking about when he said, one thing is needed. Only one thing is needed. And this is the one thing that is needed. He also said, seek ye first the kingdom of God, which is in you and all around you. This is what he was talking about. He told us the rest will be added unto you. Find this. Realize what you are. Not the body, not the story, not the mind that attacks your peace. You are consciousness itself, conscious of itself. Sweet lucid dreams to all of you. We love you. I came back. I literally raised myself from the dead after my near-death experience, or I should say during it. I raised myself from the dead because I became the version of me that loves the world, loves the maker of the world, and loves all of you, my brothers and sisters. And I came back to deliver this message. But it was very quantum, and so the world in 1978 was not ready for this. And so when I realized I could die from Lexapro, even though I was in withdrawals, I started delivering my message, lest I not before I die, and everything I went through since I came back be wasted. I'm here for you. And by, together, we're going to put out the little lie and replace it with the great